Hi, my name is Angela Dooley. I'm going to provide a brief summary of Chapter 10 in Theory and Practice of Online Learning, and then give my thoughts on the strengths and weaknesses of the chapter and ways that the information is relevant to me and hopefully others. As I understood it, this chapter focused on the following four key components for online course development: infrastructures that are needed before online course development can occur, teaching considerations for those that create and instruct online, organizational, or should I say organizing efforts for successful online instruction, and key roles for the course production team. Key component number one, infrastructures. The chapter states that before undertaking web-based instruction, the organization or institution needs the following three things, something like a guideline or set of rules for all stakeholders to clearly understand and follow. Number one, standard definitions of what exactly is an online course. Number two, faculty buy-in to the whole idea of online learning. And number three, a focus on sound pedagogy or sound principles and guidelines for effective education. My reaction to this is that this makes perfect sense. Everyone has to know exactly what it is they're doing. Others have to want to do it too, and you have to do it the right way, focusing towards, as Chapter 2 suggests, a theory of online learning. The chapter also states that the fundamental requirement to gain support for web-based instruction from all stakeholders, faculty, administrators, and students, is an institutional model that is distinct from the traditional instructional planning model and supports the design, development, and implementation of high-quality instruction on the internet. My reaction to this is that I have a little bit of grief with the word distinct. I do agree that an online instructional planning model needs to be different from a traditional instructional planning model, but not so different that those resistant to change will feel like they're entering a new world. In my opinion, it's a bit of a weakness of the chapter not to discuss using the similarities of two models as a marketing type tool for stakeholder buy-in. My other thought is, why not use those same faculty, administrators, and students, particularly the ones resistant to change, to help develop the online instructional model? I think the best way to get buy-in is to have the ultimate end users develop it and make it their own. Key component number two, teaching considerations. A definite strength of this chapter, in my opinion, is the focus on teaching considerations for online learning, which include the following four things. Number one, viewing web-based instruction as a new teaching paradigm. Number two, educating faculty on the pedagogical, administrative, and technical skills of online teaching. Number three, managing time and resources when planning, designing, and implementing a course. And number four, supporting and rewarding faculty for engaging in online learning activities and buying into the online instructional model. The most striking thing to me about this section was the discussion and suggestion that the student control the content, the active learning, and the interaction with other students and instructors. The faculty, therefore, are more there to facilitate and serve as an additional resource. This actually, in my opinion, is a blurring of roles, as the student, in many ways, is becoming the teacher. To me personally, something like this is very empowering, but I can also see how it could be very intimidating, particularly to those that are new to higher education and online learning. The third key component of online course development are organizing efforts to centralize, standardize, and make efficient the development and delivery of online learning. I do see centralization as a strength, but I can also see it as limiting, particularly with large organizations. I work with folks in the field, namely United States Attorney's offices, specifically because they are not centralized and can provide subject matter expertise and opinion that a centralized group wouldn't see or be able to experience. We also rotate subject matter experts in on a one-year detail to make sure we have information that is current, cutting edge, and relative to our large audience. I really like the chapter's mention of reusable learning objects, where educators can submit, use, or exchange learning activities. This is a great idea in concept, and I can see where it could easily become overwhelming, irrelevant, and more trouble than help. The funny thing to me is that this organizing tool could quickly become disorganized itself. And the use of Web 2.0 tools, in my opinion, is a if you can't beat them, join them concept. Learners are already using and are going to continue to use these resources to network and engage, regardless of whether they're encouraged or required by the online course. The fourth and final key component is a core online course development team, an A team of sorts that can bring together different specialty type skills to produce a synergistic product. The chapter mentions 5 core roles: an SME or subject matter expert who assures the content of the online course is appropriate and writes the exercises, activities, and examinations, an instructional designer who acts as a project manager and is responsible for all aspects of the online course, a web developer who works with faculty to organize the online learning environment, a graphic designer who enhances education through technical drawings, illustrations, graphics, and photography, and a programmer and multimedia author who uses specialized software tools to enable interactivity. I have to say that my initial thoughts on this were, yeah, right, who has the luxury of having an individual person for all of these roles? But then I started thinking and I realized that we, the Department of Justice, actually have all of these roles at the National Advocacy Center. We just don't coordinate and collaborate to the best of our ability, even though we are somewhat centralized. I think it is definitely a strength of the chapter to describe and suggest these key roles for online course development, and I would have liked to have seen a little more discussion on how these folks work together to produce an online course. And lastly, the chapter says that employing the principles and guidelines offered in this chapter will help all stakeholders involved in online instructional development to ensure that their efforts are rewarded, ultimately with satisfied learners. Do I think this is realistic? Yes and no. I think the chapter did a good job of presenting principles and guidelines, and I do think there are other variables involved that can hinder success despite employing what's been suggested. For example, some folks are just prisoners to the learning environment. They are being forced to take training. They don't want to be there. They don't want to engage or take control of their own learning. This definitely needs to be presented as a realistic variable with the potential for a less than successful outcome. Overall, though, the chapter was very helpful to me by providing a detailed picture of 4 key components that can contribute to effective online learning. I, for one, am definitely a satisfied learner. Thank you.